Today, we're embarking on an incredible journey, diving deep into the heart of vintage Jeep mastery. And let me tell you, it's not just any visit. We're heading over to meet a legend in the Jeep world, an expert of vintage Jeep parts, a guardian of Jeep history, and above all else, a race Jeep superstar. So buckle up as we get an exclusive look into his workshop, learn a trick or two about the art of building vintage race Jeeps, and maybe, just maybe, uncover some of the secrets to keeping history alive and roaring on the roads. Trust me, you don't want to miss a moment of this adventure. Let's dive in and discover the soul of vintage Jeeps through the eyes of a fellow master of the trade. This is one for the books.
Here we got the transmission and transfer case for the M38 project. We are going to be taking this transfer case and transmission to a really cool guy's place. He is an expert on these early transmissions. I could do this here, but I have so much else going on that he has elected to help us with this project, which is awesome. Gives us an opportunity to go and see his toys. So we're getting this loaded up in the truck. Hopefully in a few, we're going to show you some of his cool Jeeps that you don't see every day.
Come in.
Hello, Fred.
Hello.
Cool.
How are you doing today?
Not too bad.
Good.
I heard you had a pretty cool blue Jeep over here. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about what you do and what your how you sell parts and stuff?
My name's Fred Mottice. We have a website, anything for a Jeep. We have an eBay store, and we sell used Jeep parts on eBay.
And he is the go-to guy for anything 1986 and older for CJ. Invaluable source of knowledge for our area of these Jeeps. And you can see here we got this really cool short nose.
61 CJ5 has a Ford 302 Mustang engine in it, around 350 horse. Has a T150 transmission out of a 76 Jeep, rear end out of a 72 to 75 Jeep, front end out of a 78 Jeep, Saginaw steering conversion out of a 72 to 75 Jeep. It'll cruise on the highway 70 mile an hour.
So it's one of those vehicles that you go up to and you would think, oh, this is just a pretty much stock CJ5 with a small block Ford in it, but it doesn't look like it's all pieced together, but it's all the best parts put together. One of these times we're going to come back, there's something special hiding right there that we're going to bug him to get him uncovered, and so we can show it off a little bit, because that's a pretty rare Jeep right there. We'll leave you at that. You'll have to tune back in later for that. All right, well, we're going to get going and look at some parts, and we'll catch up with you in a minute. I pulled the shifters off just for bed clearance, but I brought them along because I know I always like to shift my stuff when I get it done together, so I wanted to have you prepared.
Should look like new when I'm done.
Yep.
Okie dokie. Anything else?
Oh, unless you would like to show a little bit of your projects and stuff.
Yeah, we can go over to the other. I got the garages open.
Okay. I was telling about the race Jeep.
We sold the house and I sold my front garage.
Okay.
So I built a new garage.
Okay.
And the plan is for it to be my Jeep museum. It'll have my Super Jeep in it, my race Jeep, my Wagoneer.
Yep.
But I haven't got everything moved over.
I understand. So what got you started in the Jeeps?
When I turned 16 and I was going to get my driver's permit, my dad had a 59 Olds Rocket Super 88, and I just couldn't wait to get in that to learn to drive. He traded it in and got a 69 CJ5 with a F-head 4-cylinder in it.
Crush your dreams.
Yeah. Yeah, top speed, 55 mile an hour.
You were probably as a young kid going, what in the world are you doing?
And then I drove it to school a couple times, and it was like a chick magnet. You know? And it was like, everybody had, you know, this is back in 1972, so everybody had 66 Chevys and, you know, that kind of stuff. And Fred had this Jeep, you know, that could go off the road. You know, like, hey, let's go off the road. Let's
and it was a convertible, the Butte.
Yeah. And
made up for the loss of all that power you gave up, huh?
Yeah, and so when I went to college, and my parents decided I should commute. They was like, what kind of vehicle you want? I said, I'm either going to get a motorcycle or a Jeep with a V6 engine, because I knew the V6 engines were faster than the
4-cylinder.
So the Jeep that is now my race Jeep, I bought when I was 18 years old. I've had it for over 50 years. 69 CJ5 with a Buick V6 engine. That's my first vehicle.
That's awesome.
I drove it till 1987, and then I started racing it, and then about 1990 turned it into a full-fledged race Jeep. So I drove it up to about 1990.
Wow.
And just fiberglass body and
just fix what was broken.
What was broken.
That's awesome.
And then once I started racing, and then I was winning, I was 5-time overall champion. You win, you break stuff. So, you know, at the time, didn't have money to buy new parts, so started buying some
junk Jeeps,
keep my habit going. And then I found out I could keep my habit going and sell some parts and buy another junk Jeep. So I just kept going, and it snowballed.
Well, and when you have one Jeep, you start getting known for it, then everybody comes up and like, hey, would you like my old Jeep too?
Yeah. And like I was telling you, I learned with the help of Henry Fraze the ins and outs and what could be changed and this and that, and kind of got the reputation if you needed a Jeep part or needed to know something about a Jeep, Fred could
help you out.
And it's still that way for 86 and older Jeeps.
I would say we bother you all the time when we got questions.
But I just never got into the YJs or TJs. I like my CJs, and that's what I know. And
but can't blame you there.
I know some about the newer stuff in the Wagoneers, because I've destroyed 3 Wagoneers over the years. I had a 79 Hawk, 81 Laredo, and a 86 Grand Wagoneer that I put over 200,000 miles on all of them in Ohio.
Mm-hmm. Which is easy to do, big state.
Because, you know, then they just rusted apart.
Yeah. That's the only downfall.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why I ended up with that 89. I bought it out of Virginia, and it's just as clean underneath as it is
on top.
But now I cruise around in a Grand Cherokee.
Don't blame you there.
So it's a Jeep. These are early model axles. Like everything else, the race Jeep's covered with boxes.
But it's still here. That's what matters.
Yeah. Get ready to move it over to the other garage. On the shelf there are the tires for the sand.
See the paddles and for the rears and the front runners for that.
225 Buick V6, 335 horse, 410 foot-pound of torque at 6,800 RPM.
Yep.
Got a turbo 400 with a 5,000 stall converter, so launch at 5, shift at 7.
Yep.
Covers 100 yards in 5.5 seconds.
Adrenaline drive.
It is. It is. This is mid-80s Laredo is a project.
And this is the very first time I came here with Neil.
Thought it was a steel body.
You were trying to trick me, and he's like, tell me if that's steel or fiberglass, and it has a seam, and all the other ones just they just delete that, and this indent they delete. So it's all smooth, and that's
Right.
You can tell from across the parking lot that it's fiberglass.
No.
This one you can't, because
No.
this is glass. But
The molds for this body were taken off of actual Jeep.
right,
Of course, we couldn't put the
the emblem.
emblem in, but
Yeah.
this body, anything that come off the steel body bolts to this body.
So did you end up getting separate panels from Jeep and making like?
Uh-huh.
So you actually
We
got
bought-
a cowl. And,
We actually bought new AMC panels and made the fiberglass mold out of the original
that's so-
AMC panels.
whatever happened to those metal panels?
They're in the rafters of the other garage. Still
Still
got them.
got 'em?
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy.
And now this is a 76 to 82s. Last year they made the 81. The last year they made the CJ7.
Or it's-
I've modified the frame to put the 76 body on this 73 frame,
okay.
because at the time it was my son and I, and he wanted a tilt steering wheel. So instead of trying to make a tilt in a pre-76
Yeah.
Jeep, and then the other thing was you get the better heater.
Yep.
So I got the better heater and put the tilt steering wheel in.
The better windshield frame
Yep.
and all that kind of stuff. Because 73 would have had the old style, almost Willys
Yep,
hold downs, where these have the thumb screws like a later CJ.
yep. And eventually gets a one-piece front end. Got a 370 AMC V8 in it,
Okay.
and still have the T15 in it.
Okay.
Over there, covered up, is another Buick V6 rolling chassis.
Okay.
Body's standing up over there behind the post.
So it says something about being a radiator on the side.
Yes, that's the original body that was on the race Jeep when it was the original length.
Oh, okay.
The one that's out there now has the frame's been lengthened 10 inches, so I could put the automatic transmission.
Oh, okay.
This 81-inch wheelbase with that engine in, when I drop the clutch, it'd just jump off the ground. And a crowd pleaser, but brake stuff, and
Yeah.
you can't make consistent times.
Right.
So the automatic let me keep it on the ground and make consistent times.
Get that cool V6 badge, Davey, and the lettering.
That's my late wife's name, Martha.
That's pretty darn cool.
That was AJ's body.
Okay.
That body there is, I put that on in 1978 for the first time.
Did you fill the vent for the heater, or did you have to cut that yourself when you got those bodies?
Because the body was initially bought for a 1969 Jeep, there was never a hole there.
Oh, okay.
And I had never put a newer style heater in it, so I never cut it out.
Okay.
10, 20, 30, 40 bodies, 45 years old.
And going through racing, that's pretty good. That's pretty tough on them.
I have this one YJ, just haven't gotten time to tear it apart the rest of the way.
Yep.
That's what's left of my grills. 7 years ago, I had 80 Jeep grills. And then 5 years ago, they got popular on Pinterest for wall hangers.
Yep.
So now I got 10 left. So I sold 70 grills in the last 5 years, and I know of 2 of them that actually went on Jeeps. All the rest of them are hanging on somebody's wall. That's kind of what I got left for
Transmission cores.
T18s from here back, or T4, T5s. On the other side are T14, T15s.
Let's see, AMC
I got
V8
a-
hiding there.
I got a couple. That's hiding there because it's 401. Yeah.
For the people at home, you know how you tell what an AMC V8 cubic inch is? You get right down here on the block, and it's stamped. So 401.
Then the
I never got lucky enough to find one of those in the wild.
360s and 304s over there. 258s. Got
It's-
a couple shift towers.
Just a couple. Couple gas tanks. And there you can see those cool vintage drag tires there.
Then to the right of them are a set of vintage Renegade aluminum slots
Okay.
for like the V6 or the
Yep.
72 to 75.
The kidney bean style ones.
Yep.
Yep.
Later model axles.
Yep.
Most of these are 44 rears. That's all Dana 30 fronts. Then that stack in the back are Model 20
Yep.
center and offset. Most of them are 354 gears.
I see you got one hiding in there. It's a non-keyway 488 track. That's a treasure in a pile.
It could be bought if a person had enough money. Offset 44
Yep.
with a track lock.
Yeah. Hint, Neil, hint.
What's that? Hood up there.
Oh, that looks like it's.
Oh, that's the hood that went with that
That body.
Yeah, had the hood scoop and
Has your cool decal lettering. That's lettering on that one. That ain't decals, is it? You
No.
had somebody letter that up.
yeah, Wild West.
That's cool.
I think he might still be lettering stuff. I'm not sure. He was just starting out when he lettered that.
Yep.
So that was lettered in 1990.
Get a shot of this poor old chief over here. Make Ryan cry.
So I had somebody that needed some AMC crankshafts, so
Yep.
I tore some engines apart. We're going to put a couple sets of pistons in our eBay store. That's a Model 25 front end.
Yep. And sell that by the vent on the diff cover there.
Exactly. Another AMC 258 with a T14.
That's got.
How I ended up with a Dodge 61. Tearing apart a Commando there.
Yep.
That's a CJ6. What's left of a CJ6, but I have a fiberglass body under the porch. Could be another project someday. 89 parts Wagoneer, and then on the other side of it's a 88 that's don't need a whole lot to be a nice vehicle.
Is that what's left of a Commando there?
Yep, another Commando. I had about a dozen Commandos at one time.
On my bucket list someday, I'd like to have a Commando, but that's long down the road.
Where I tear axles apart. We sell a lot of axle knuckles in our eBay store because you can still buy the one-hole knuckle, but the two-hole knuckle's been out of production for years. So you have to find a
good takeoff.
and then guys that know, if you have a 30 with front drum brakes, if you put the longer studs in the knuckle, you can use the 6-bolt caliper plate
Yep.
from the, again, Jeep, 77.5 to 78.5,
Right.
and you got front disc brakes.
Yep.
Still got some parts left
For full sizes.
Yeah, these things right here, guys are buying just that part.
Yep.
That stack here is my Kelsey Hayes rims.
Yeah, those two up there on top look like brand new.
Yeah, yeah, a couple of them. Up there's the,
Oh, the sheet metal?
yep.
Oh, wow. Yeah. There's somebody drooling on those somewhere.
There's gonna be wall hangers in my museum.
I don't blame you. Very cool. You are thinning out some, but
Oh my goodness, I only have half of what I did 9 years ago.
oh, I remember. Oh, wow. This is way cleaned out compared to what it was.
There's Turbo 400s and Quadra-Tracks.
Yep.
Here's
Oil bath air cleaner.
Wrangler bell housings, Flat Thunder bell housings,
Leaf springs.
more transfer cases.
Willie's wagon or truck hood.
There's a
Oh,
row
wow.
of CJ hoods there.
And dashboards.
Dashboards. Kept a couple of these exhaust systems that were half decent.
Yep.
I forget the name of that grill.
Oh, that's
one of the last one. It has a crack in it, but other than that, it's pretty good shape.
I had an 82 Wagoneer that had that grill.
Yeah. It was like a 1 or 2 year.
Yeah.
Then they went to the newer style.
Yes. Yep, it was like an in-between.
Around the corner is the heater collection. It's got
intake boxes and stuff.
yeah, about a dozen heater units in there.
Those are getting harder to find as well.
There's parts up there too. Know anybody looking for a Chevy Vega Cosworth engine?
What in the world are you doing with a Cosworth Vega motor?
When four-wheel drive hardware sold to the corporation that owns them now,
Yeah.
I was good friends with Tom Kennedy and Peters.
The founders.
Yeah, and so when they sold to the corporation, a lot of people didn't realize when four-wheel drive hardware started, they sold used parts as well as new parts. So they had a whole big building full of used parts. They called me up and said, "Hey Fred, would you be interested in buying all these used parts we have?"
And you said, "Of course I would."
And I'm like, yeah. So in that garage, all that shelving, that was from four-wheel drive hardware too.
Okay.
And all these used parts had been cleaned and put in boxes.
Okay. So they could ship them out easier.
Yeah, so they had all these little boxes in these big boxes, and I just bought the whole kit and caboodle.
So in that pile was a Cosworth motor?
And then anything else that was in that building.
Uh-huh.
And here Tom had bought a Chevy Cosworth
Okay.
Vega. It tore all apart, was going to put it back together, but then he passed and he never got it put back together.
So you ended up with Cosworth parts.
So I got a Chevy Cosworth rear end, transmission.
What makes it a Cosworth?
Yeah, everything that makes a Chevy Vega a Cosworth, I got it. It's number 153 because they were all numbered on the dash. I got the dash. Cosworth 153. That's a Commando. These are frames. Willie wagon frame.
Yep.
Got at the beginning there is a pretty nice 72 to 75 frame.
That's a Scout, one of the early Scouts. So, fun Scout story. Well, my dad had one of those, and about 73, we had the mother of all snowstorms up in our area.
Mm-hmm.
And he had an 8-foot blade on a Scout.
Oh my goodness.
Because he would plow trailer parks, and he said he could angle the blade and go right up underneath the mailboxes and clean it out real nice with that. And
8-foot blade.
yeah, on a Scout, and he had a Mustang gas tank in the back, the ones that were the trunk floor. He put up a frame and had it sitting there because the saddle gas tanks in those always rusted out. In a 24-hour period, never shut the Scout off.
Yeah, that one had a snow plow on it. It was hydraulic.
Yep. Had
That might
the
have been
cables.
with your dad had that 4-cylinder engine.
Yep. So cool.
That brown body's another good 72 to 75 frame. More axles, 44 fronts.
Another Commando hood.
Yep.
And a Commando grill.
Yep. Tag.
With the tag. I'm surprised that one's not on your shelf in there with your other ones.
Axle housings.
Yep. See, somebody
Another pile of axles.
Somebody was trying to do something there.
Oh, truss.
Yep.
Yeah.
Early style truss.
Homemade truss. That's what's left of a 62 wagon.
Oh, wow. Another CJ5. Another Commando. Oh, this is killing me.
Yep. Some later roll bars.
We just had to repair one of those because they're getting harder to find.
Oh.
I made a foot for it where it bolts into the body.
Yeah.
One had somebody looked like they took a beaver to take it out of the Jeep. They gnawed it all off, and I made it one from scratch.
Yeah, half of them, the front foot's gone.
Yeah.
They rust there.
Yep. But again, the sport, for a while there, you couldn't give a sport bar away. Everyone wanted a family bar. Now we're back the other way, where everybody wants a sport bar for that look.
You notice something different about this frame?
I haven't seen a whole lot of Commando frames, so you might get me on this one.
Look at the front of the frame. Factory Saginaw steering.
Okay. So
where all them other Commandos had
Ross.
The Ross.
Was this the
7071?
Okay, so they had the different front end, or this?
Nope.
No, this was still the good front end.
Yep.
Huh.
Buick V6. The last 2 years of the Buick V6 and the Commando, it had the Saginaw steering.
So can you use this cast bracket and retrofit it to the older frame?
Yeah, the frames are the same.
It's just that piece of unobtainium right there.
Yep. I've also had guys close in the front of their CJ frame and use that bracket.
Okay.
Myself, I like to use the 72 to 75 bracket that slides into the frame.
Yeah.
And you can put it on a flat fender, but you need to shave the front and the bottom off because later CJ frame's just a little wider than the flat fender frame.
Okay.
My race Jeeps like that 61 that was in the garage is like that. I've done at least a half a dozen of them that way. The other thing, guys are looking for a 44 narrow track for their 76 and newer Jeep.
Yep.
Well, because the Commando rear springs were on the outside of the frame,
okay,
it's a bolt-in.
Oh. Huh.
Where if you use the 72 to 75, you have to weld new spring perches on. But if you see the Commando, it's got the wide springs like the CJ.
Right.
And with the springs on the outside of the frame, it lines right up. You can bolt it right in.
So no wonder you scooped these up. These were a good parts haul for a CJ. Looks like a racing frame roll bar over there.
Yep.
Is that what from one of the race Jeeps?
Yeah, it's from one of the race Jeeps. That one project I told you was a rolling chassis. That's the roll bar that goes back in that Jeep, maybe someday.
Well, thank you so much for showing us everything and telling us the stories. And it's always good to be able to visit and see your stuff. I always see stuff that I wish I had in my hoard.
I know. Well, I appreciate the job you guys do. Anybody calls me from Cleveland, I direct them your way. So.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Well, I hear good things, so I have no problem doing it.
One of the times you're up by us, you got to come in and get a tour of the shop.
I know. I keep, because my one son lives in Chardon now, and I'm like...
That's not too much farther.
Yeah, I need to slide over there.
Yeah.
I always got something to do here.
It's
just kind of hard to get away, but...
Well, I understand. Well, we'll have to be back, and we'll make you uncover the Super Jeep next time so we get some pictures.
I will.